Intro. A dark screen, powerful music rises. White bold text fades in. One law, one woman. One moment that stopped the nation cold. Cut to Jasmine Crockett at a congressional hearing, eyes locked on her notes. Voiceover, intense, crisp. Pam Bondi, the former Florida Attorney General turned political firebrand, thought her signature legislation would go unchallenged. She called it the Public Accountability Act. But to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, it wasn't accountability. It was a trap, a weapon disguised as policy, a law that silenced voices, punished protest, and bent justice to political favor. And on July 23, at 10:42 a.m., Jasmine Crockett stood up, calm, composed, but ready to dismantle everything. And when she did, America froze. Scene opens, Oversight Committee, live broadcast. Chair, Congresswoman Crockett, you have 5 minutes. She doesn't even need to. Jasmine Crockett clears her throat. She speaks slowly, deliberately, greater than let me be perfectly clear. What Pam Bondi tried to pass off as a transparency bill was nothing more than legalized suppression. And the data the receipts the legal precedent proves it. She lifts a binder labeled, Exhibit A, Bondi's Law. Camera zooms in. Greater than this bill criminalizes peaceful protest under the false label of a civil disruption. It allows public officials to sue private citizens for defamation even if the claims are true. And worst of all, it shields government corruption by criminalizing whistleblower leaks. A gasp is heard. Some shuffle in their seats. Bondi's name is now trending, but not in the way she hoped. Seconds pass. Crockett's eyes narrow. Greater than let's be honest, this isn't a law. It's a panic button for corrupt officials. A muzzle on the First Amendment. And let me remind my colleagues, this bill passed in Florida using manipulated data and corporate influence that Pam Bondi personally signed off on. Now the room is silent. No coughing, no phones, no movement. Because what Crockett says next shakes the entire chamber. Greater than Section 4B of Bondi's law claims to protect state interest from reputational harm. That exact language was used word for word in 1970s apartheid South Africa, where dissent was criminalized under reputation laws. That's not freedom. That's fascism wrapped in patriotism. 36 seconds in, and America frozen. Phones light up across the country. MSNBC, CNN, The Hill, Fox all cutting live. Social media explodes. Bondi law. Crockett exposes frozen America. Because Crockett just did something unthinkable. She didn't just oppose Bondi's law, she obliterated its legal foundation. Back in the chamber, Crockett continues. Greater than the ACLU warned you. Civil rights attorneys warned you. Even Republican-appointed judges flagged this language. But it was rammed through because you all thought no one would notice. Greater than a broken bar I noticed. She flips to another page. Greater than, and here's where it gets worse. 5 states tried to replicate this law. Each used the Florida model. Each used the same donor-backed framework, and in every case, the bill was rushed through committee with zero citizen review. Now it's not just about Florida. It's about national corruption. Backlash begins instantly. Civil rights leaders tweet. Greater than this is the most important legislative takedown since the Patriot Act. Legal scholars go live. Greater than Crockett just exposed an authoritarian blueprint masquerading as a law. And Pam Bondi, silent. Her legal team issues a vague statement. Greater than we believe in free speech but stand by our commitment to integrity. But it's too late. Jasmine Crockett has opened the floodgates. Within 12 hours, federal courts begin reviewing appeals tied to Bondi-style laws. A petition to repeal Florida's law hits 5 million signatures. Florida's state legislature goes into emergency session. And Crockett? She's not done. She publishes a 68-page legal brief titled, Suppression by Statute, submitted to the DOJ and the Congressional Research Service. Inside, line-by-line breakdowns, comparisons to Cold War propaganda laws, hidden ties between lobbying groups and legislators. It's airtight. The media spins one headline across every outlet. Greater than Crockett versus Bondi. the law that backfired. Pam Bondi's once polished image, a former prosecutor, Trump surrogate, defender of order, a now splintered. Clips from Crockett's speech become classroom material. TikToks remix her words into protest anthems. Greater than it's not justice if it only protects power. Laws that punish truth aren't laws, they're lies with legal shields. We won't be silenced by signatures. Day 2. The White House responds. The press secretary calls Bondi's law deeply troubling. A bipartisan group of lawmakers files a resolution condemning the Florida model. Several state attorneys general launch inquiries. Meanwhile, Crockett appears on the readout, The View, and Democracy Now! A not to celebrate, a but to warn. Greater than there will be more laws like this, written by corporations, signed by puppets, and sold to the public as a safety. But real safety means protecting rights, not power. Day 3, Pam Bondi speaks. It's defensive, unconvincing. Greater than I stand by the law. I stand by protecting our institutions from defamation and protest violence. But no one's buying it. Because now America has the receipts. They've seen the comparisons, the evidence, the intent. And one woman, a Jasmine Crockett, made sure they couldn't look away. By the end of the week, Florida announces a review panel to re-examine the law. The Supreme Court quietly schedules a hearing on its constitutionality. Crockett is nominated for a National Liberty Award by several civil rights groups. Pam Bondi, she vanishes from public view. Her contract with a major media network put on pause. Several organizations she partnered with quietly scrub her name. And Jasmine Crockett, she just showed the nation how you don't need a gavel to deliver justice. Just truth. And a mic. Closing shot, Crockett standing outside the Capitol, surrounded by reporters, unbothered, focused. Voiceover. One law tried to silence the people. One woman read it, tore it apart, and showed the world. In just 36 seconds, a broken bar, she froze America with the truth. And now, nothing will ever be the same.